That game is The Artful Escape, and we're very happy to have one of the developers from Beethoven and Dinosaur, Johnny Galvatron, here with us tonight. Johnny, how are you?
I'm metal as fuck. Great to be here.
Hell yeah.
I've got some balloons that got delivered to me today. I've got like a unicorn.
Lovely.
And this is the highlight of my career thus far, is getting some dope balloons.
Excellent. How's the bottle of...
I think your t-shirt is outshining the balloons by far. Look at the fucking t-shirt.
I've got a Goosebumps say cheese
nice.
So
and
good.
I've got a bottle of Bollinger.
Good.
It's going off tits tonight. It's great. It's great to be here. I've been up for 48 hours reading the reviews that came out last night, and I've been drinking solidly. And it's great to be here.
Amazing.
I will just say, before we get started, Nax Cole in the chat said, "Is this a bit?" To which we say, "No, this man is actually the developer of The Artful Escape."
Yeah, like I'm a real person.
Yeah.
No matter how much you dress this up, you're still a real person.
This is legit. This is live from West Melbourne by Flagstaff Gardens in lockdown.
On what is launch day for you technically? Or like
I'm not involved in that sort of kind of decision making. I believe it's 2 a.m. Phil will be on that. Don't get in Phil's way. I've seen him kill a man. 2 a.m. tonight because it's an internet. It's like a single release date, which is 9. In LA in that capitalist hellhole, United States.
Why do they always get preferential treatment? It's so
I don't know.
annoying.
I don't have anything to do with it. I just made the game.
All right.
So Johnny, you're the creative director on Artful Escape. But when I looked you up, I saw all this info of you as the front man of the Galvatrons, a band. Yeah. You've had like quite a musical career, and it's obviously a lot of your like musical DNA in the game. But how did you make the jump from rock band to game developer?
I think the important place to start is to not be in a very good band. That's the beginning point. I think,
and how ironic that they have the same name as you, because that's just
unbelievable. So I think get a big record deal, kind of fall short, hide away for 5 years, which is what I did. I wrote a novel, and then I showed it to no one, and then I saw a good road that I could get into what I consider kind of like the artistic frontier of video games. Is a great place to be. I made a little demo in Unreal Engine, which is free, and I learned it off YouTube, and I sent it to Epic, and I was like, you guys are giving out grants. Is this the kind of thing you're looking for? And there was no in-between email. They were just like, they just gave me $20,000. And I was like, sweet, I'm super broke, and that helps heaps. And then I did a kick. I did a kick. I know, nothing in between. Like, yeah, that looks good. It was just like a PayPal response. Like it just said, here's a wad from Tim Sweeney.
I feel like a lot of people have conflicting feelings about Epic, but this seems like they've done you a solid.
I tell you what,
it just turned up.
People do have conflicting issues about Epic, but I don't. I'm 2 thumbs up for Epic. So they gave me some money, and then I did a Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter probably didn't do very well because I didn't build an audience of any kind. I just threw it up there. It was like, dig this weird Steve Vai shit. And then everyone was like, it's pretty good. But then we didn't get our Kickstarter, and I was speaking to a couple of different publishing places. Annapurna rang me up. I tried to act cool, but they rung. Yeah, I like to think that's what happened.
Yeah,
and then
make the first contact.
Yeah, and they rang me up, and they're like, I spoke to them a couple of times, and they're like, "What is this game? What happens in it?" And I'm like, "Oh, who knows? I'll just make it."
Is the game at that stage
a
still...
lot of things are going to happen, and I will tell you about them very soon.
Is that still in just the demo form of what it was that you'd shown Epic at that stage, or had it changed into anything else by that stage?
Well, Act 2. This is what happened next. Nathan rings me up and he's like, "Are you going to be at PAX Australia?" And I'm like, "Yes, we've got a demo ready, Nathan. I'll see you at PAX." We had
Nathan
no demo.
is from Annapurna?
Nathan's from Annapurna. And we had no table. We had no demo. We had nothing. My jeans were quite torn at the time and I couldn't afford any other ones. And I couldn't get into any pubs because they were too torn. That was the stage my life was at. And I
what happened to the Sweeney Wad?
The Sweeney Wad.
Why sell some jeans, mate?
I know. I should have actually spent it on jeans. That is actually a good idea. But then this is what happened next. So Nathan's like, we'll be there in 3 months, and I was like, sweet, we'll see you there. So I called in like the last favors I had for my mid-tier rock and roll career. Mid-tier rock and roll career should be the name of my autobiography, but. Me and Sean Slevin and Justin Blackwell, we put a demo together. They rocked up. We've been up for 2 days, I'm sure, at this stage, very much like my current state. And they rocked up at 10:30 sharp, played the game. They're like, "Do you want to come out for lunch tomorrow?" And I was like, yes, I do. And then victory. That's how it went down.
And I'm sorry, I'm
new jeans.
Yes, and then I bought the first thing I bought when I got my first Annapurna check was Steep and Final Fantasy.
Steep,
the last one,
the Ubisoft downhill snowing.
Yeah, that's what I bought. And Final Fantasy, the one in the car with the boy band.
15, the boys.
15, yeah.
Oh,
and 24 Kentucky Fried Chicken Nuggets. That was my.
Hell yeah.
So
That's a
you're
party.
the
That's a
guy
party.
who bought Steep.
I'm the guy who bought Steep, and I it was a great evening.
So what is your personal history with video games? Like, has it always been a big part of your life, or like even while you were kind of focused on the music thing? And how did Beethoven and Dinosaur come about?
Yeah, well, even when I was on tour and stuff, I've been a gamer since the Master System. Shows you how old I am.
Respect.
How wrinkly my eyes would be between these enormous glasses.
Give us a look. Give us a look.
Yeah, the camera went. Nope, not having a bar of that.
I mean, I was writing articles for game reviews and stuff while I was on tour, so I was always like a big fan of that. And I've always been that kind of person who writes little stories and draws a lot and reads a lot, watches a lot of films, and it's just one of those kind of people who like to lock myself away and get real fat on movies and video games. You know, when you feel your brain's real swelled with that stuff. That's my vibe. I always was kind of writing and making music, and that's the thing about indie gaming. Like, you have to have your finger in so many pies. You have to I always describe it as like you have to know a good story arc, but you also have to know the refraction indices of glass. So it's like it's a really fun job. It's like amazing. Like, some days I work in making music. Sometimes I'm locked in the studio making music. Other days I'm just drawing weird monsters, and then I hand it to really amazing illustrators and be like, "I've drawn this creature. Please put it into the game." So what an amazing job. And then like some days I'm hanging out with Carl Weathers and he's adding heaps of babies to my dialogue, and I'm like,
"Oh yeah,
sick, Carl. That's dope." Leaving it in.
Which is just crazy to me. So the game has voice performances from Michael Johnson, Caroline Kinley, Lena Headey, Jason Schwartzman, Mark Strong, and Carl Weathers.
Yeah.
How
did you have a say in any of that
yourself
cast?
a stew right
were
there.
you suggesting? Were they offering and you're like saying yes?
Here's how it goes down for me.
Chapter 3.
Here's what Chapter 3, the third act. here's what happened. I was doing a playthrough for Annapurna, and there was like 20 people on the call, and there was a bug with the music. And you guys, I'm sure will play the game in the next few days, maybe. And music's
talking
a
about
really
everyone
big
in
part.
chat. You're talking about everyone in chat right now, right?
Hopefully, yeah. The music was broken, and I was just like kind of devastated, and I didn't know what to do. So I started voicing all the characters and like chewing the scenery, like really leaning in and go, "Oh, Francis, you crazy bastard," and just doing everyone. and at the end of the call, I thought I was going to get a call back and be like, that was just pretty shitty playthrough. They rang back and they're like, "We should do VO." I was like, damn it, what have I done? And we did a little demo, and it was like, it was super dope. Just like I just did the voices, so they weren't acted that well, but it seemed to work in the game. And so we decided to do it, and then Deb, who we work with, Deb Mars at Annapurna, she was like, who are you thinking for lineman? I'm like, well, who can I have? What's the level? It's like if you could have anyone, who would you want? I'm like, well, Carl Weathers. She's like, I'll get back to you. And then you kind of wait, and then a week later, you get the phone call. Carl's in, and then there's like another week, and then suddenly Carl Weathers like walks in the studio. Is like, what are we doing, Johnny? I'm like, hi, Carl. And then he's reading all the nonsense he wrote, and I was kind of like, I just spoke to him about like Sly and the Family Stone and like Jimi Hendrix and James Brown and all these characters that influenced his character. And then he was like, okay, well, this line's not going to work. I'm going to change this line from kid to young blood, and I'm going to add a baby here, and I'm also going to add 35 other babies throughout the screenplay. And I was like, sick, Carl, that's dope. And it's just amazing. I love Carl in the game. It's,
The
like
story
what a
is amazing.
privilege.
Apart from the fact that you didn't high-five him when he came into the office and be like, Johnny, you son of a bitch.
Dylan, you son of a bitch! I would have loved to. I did bring up Star Wars because I'm a bit of a Star Trek, Star Wars fan. So I was just like,
nice.
In this scene, you're a hologram, like in Star Wars. Have you seen Star Wars?
If you recall.
He's like, yes. I'm like, sorry, dude. I just wanted to bring up Star Wars. He's like, well, you brought it up now. Let's moving on.
Sorry, go.
Yeah, and it's just like, it was just so amazing. Like Jason Schwartzman, I got to like just hang out with him for an hour before we started recording, and we spoke about like Bob Dylan and David Bowie, and I'm a big Wes Anderson fan and a big Jason Schwartzman fan, so that was just like, that was a moment. Yeah, it's really cool. And then when he came into the studio, he brought all these props. He brought like a cape, like an umbrella, and like a bunch of hats and stuff. And then I'd be like, okay, let's try the line this way, and he'd do it. And then I'm like, all right, let's try like accent on this line. He would flick the cape the other way and hold the umbrella up, and then he would do the line this way. And then working with Lena Headey, she just rocks up and she's like, what do you want? She did like 15 different accents. I was like, oh, number 6, please. That was lovely. And then she was like, I say metal a lot. I was kind of like listening. I was like, yeah, metal. And she starts like mimicking me. She's like, yeah, fucking metal, mate. And I was just like, so excited. And so I go, yeah. I'm being mocked royally.
The Lena Headey.
So I just had the best time.
The voiceover process, was it strange going, you've spent obviously ages working on this game, working on the dialogue, putting it all together, but then you have such a short amount of time with these actors to be able to like get a performance that you are now going to live with for the rest of your life? Like, it sounds like you had like an hour of like, this is going to define the rest of my career. How do we make sure this is right?
Okay, this is how I feel like it went down. Carl Weathers was like my first ever voice session. So I was terrified. I thought he was going to yell at me. I had an inkling that his fist could probably travel through the internet. And so it was kind of terrifying. But he was super cool. And everyone I worked with, all of the actors I worked with, just want to give you what you want as kind of the creator. They're all extremely professional. I was terrified, but once I got into it, I had a kind of a co-director with me, Ashley, who was teaching me the ropes of how to talk to actors and run vocal sessions. And half an hour in, I realized it's just way similar to recording a singer in a recording studio. It's like a very similar thing. Keep the vibe up. Tell them they're dope. Suggest slightly stuff that you want, and also tell them that they're super dope. And then that's like for me, that's kind of like getting in a vocal booth and talking to a singer. And I remember just like some of the engineers I worked with who were like engineers who record singers are like psychiatrists. They're like just awesome at just being like taming these wild singers who are kind of crazy. and I think I learned a lot from that. So hopefully I brought a little bit of that into the VO sessions.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you sort of began to flesh out the idea and the story, like why you chose to tell Francis Vendetti's story about kind of forming his musical identity, I guess?
I think a couple of things. One, I wanted to make like the exact opposite of my experience in the music industry, which was touring regional Australia and RSLs where people would ask you to play Khe-Sanh and throw bottles at you and chase you because you look like you're in Poison. So that wasn't my thing. So I wanted to do this complete opposite version of my experience in rock and roll. Not that it was bad. Like I got to do heaps of cool shit, but it wasn't my vibe, and I like really touring. So the Artful Escape was kind of my escape a bit as well. I just kind of thought that, when you're 17, I guess you think the rock and roll industry is going to be this magical world of open doors, and Daniel Johns is going to be there doing shots. He still is, but it's sadder.
He's doing shots of green juice.
Yeah. I guess the other thing is I really like the satellite aspects of kind of creative persona. Not like David Bowie's music, but the satellite aspects, like the way he dressed, the rumors he spread about himself. Like rocking up at 5-star restaurants even when he was sleeping on someone's couch because he knew it would make the papers. I kind of loved that. And even in my band, I spent way too much time on that stuff. And definitely not enough time on music. It's kind of, that's the kind of stuff I dig way more. So it kind of came from that angle of like, imagine having to flesh out someone's stage persona and the creative kind of world that they would build around their core medium. And that stuff really interests me. So I guess it started from there.
Awesome. It looks awesome. It looks like, I don't know, it has sprung from the depths of your imagination. And I feel like there's a lot of you and your mind and your creativity in the game, which is cool to be able to go through because not everyone gets to, I guess, put that stuff into a playable form. I imagine that like...
Yeah, totally. I mean, the thing is too is like Annapurna, gives you some dosh and you get to hire super cool people who are way better at you.
Did you meet Anna?
I've never met Annapurna personally. Right, okay. But I hear she loves the game.
Add some more dosh.
Yeah. And, you get that, the what? But I got to work with Arden Beckwith, who's the illustrator on the game, and when you see the game and how wonderful it is, that's her artwork. And Mikey McCusker did all our 3D stuff. Dude looks like he works in 3 times speed. It's kind of uncanny and weird. And Tess Monash did all our animation, and Harry Truman, not the president. He's like a young man who lives in Brisbane, and he did kind of all our set dressing, and like I just get to. That's good. I like what you're doing.
How long has that process been?
Several decades. we started like 6 years ago, and I guess first game for the studio, first game I've ever made, first game our technical director has made, and there was a lot of learning processes, a lot of learning about how to get music to work correctly, and a lot of learning about like what is good pacing. I think that was one of our biggest problems, but I'm really proud of the pacing in the game. I feel like it's very musical. I feel like it's very verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bring it down. And I think I'm really happy with how kind of the flow of the game and the pacing of it. I think it's one of its biggest strengths.
Obviously, like the thing that the game itself is just screams like passion project in terms of this is your first game, but it's something that's very special to you in terms of the personal journey and the attachment to music and all that kind of stuff. And as you mentioned, a lot of learning along the way. And how has that been as a journey as someone who's kind of been like, as you said, interested in gaming, but like going along on the kind of like, I want to call it like the press tour of the gaming as well, like and the journey you've gone through from like, you know, a little bit of money here to a little bit of sponsorship here, and growing the game into what it's become. Has that been kind of a bit surreal or different, or any parallels to the sort of music industry?
Yeah, massively surreal. It's like you're in a stadium for the Xbox show and they play a trailer.
Okay, good, because we can stop there and say that we've met. We've definitely met. We met at E3.
Did we?
Pete. Yeah, I think me and Pete walked up and said, we want to try your game. And you're like, I don't know if you can. And then the person said, I don't think they can. We're like, we're from Australia. And you were like, they're from Australia. And then they said, we don't know yet. And you look just as confused. And we were sort of like, okay. And then we were like, well, good luck with it.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. Did you get to play it?
No.
He's offended.
We met you briefly, and it was delightful, but it was like we were just like, good luck, hope it all keeps going as well as it can. And this is lovely to see that it's landed here.
Well, here we are. Look, this is us reunited at last. I'll send you a key.
Couldn't have worked out better.
It's been totally weird. So, like, I mean, I got kicked out of that because one of the guys from
what happened?
One of the guys from Xbox brought us in. They didn't give us the pass, and then I was just like in the bathroom, and I don't know. There may have been a cloud. It wasn't me. It wasn't me who blew the cloud. And they took me out because I didn't have a thing, and I'm like, my game's in the thing. My game's in the show. And they were.
It's the one where you're on drugs.
And they're like, can we play it? And they're like,
space and time.
No, I have to ask someone. I don't know. So they let me back in the end.
Tim Sweeney gave me $20,000.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Tim
Sweeney gave everyone in here $20,000.
And it was like, after that, it was like such a bizarre.
Totally.
Thing. It was like that was the one where the car came down and it took like 45 minutes. That was hilarious.
Oh,
and like everyone's like scanning Phil, and that was the one where it's like world exclusive, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And like,
I miss E3.
I know, I miss people. But yeah, I got to go over there and like visit a bunch of movie studios and did heaps of fun stuff, and yeah, I felt like I was living the dream. I met Keanu.
Oh, did you?
I did meet Keanu.
Hell yeah.
You want to hear my Keanu story?
Yeah.
He was in the bathroom with you. That's that story.
That's that story. I went to Bad Robot.
Nice.
That's JJ Abrams' place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Trek Star Wars fan, and I was like, but I'm like a massive Starfucker, so I was like hanging out the front, and I was like all these kind of tinted cars going in and out, and I don't know if you've ever been to those production places, but they're disguised as other places, and so it was super cool. It's like disguised as a different thing, and I'm out the front, and this like beautiful kind of snake tip cafe racer pulls up, and I feel a disturbance in the force, and he's like right in front of me, and flips his phone out, sends a message, flips it back, gets off the bike like a shoulder length glove from an outstretched arm, and he looks at me. He looks down the barrel, and he like takes the helmet off. And you know, from here I'm like, it's Keanu. It's fucking Keanu. He takes the helmet off and I'm like, what's up, dude? And he goes, good morning. And then he literally turned around and walked into like it's like a 4-lane highway. He walked into the medium strip and just sat under a tree and just sat there.
And that's how you get into Bad Robot?
That was
and then the tree lowered into the ground.
Totally. No, he came in. I was in like 5 minutes early because going to do my interview, and then he cruised in, and I was still in the waiting room, and Keanu was definitely ushered very quickly into whatever his meeting was. And it's like I was here first.
I was here first. I'm the one, not him. Oh, okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah,
that's amazing. So good.
And then you have to when you go to those places, you have to present your passport and stuff. And then walks up to the thing and he goes, Keanu. The dude's like, I know,
man. Oh, incredible! Fuck, Jesus Christ.
That's amazing.
You're getting the rockstar lifestyle through the video game industry now. This is brilliant.
The parties that was the way.
Are as good, I would say. Rock and roll parties is just sad at this point in time. Video game parties at least have some cash behind them, you know. They've got some funding. It's not just like squares of cheese and like like a little bits of sausage. You know what I'm talking about. And wine.
Speaking of funding, I am curious, like at what point did Game Pass get involved with this? Was this something from the beginning, or did they sort of stump up a bunch of cash to actually take the game or underwrite it from the start? Like, because the whole Game Pass thing has been a pretty monumental shift in gaming the last year.
It has, hasn't it?
And so, that's my question. That's all of the words that I have to say.
Yeah, okay, that's the word. We signed a deal initially for an exclusive. I don't know if I'm allowed to say how long it is, but we signed an exclusive deal with them, and then later on, quite near the end, we signed on to Game Pass, and the game. At that point,
was the game kind of like as a whole coming together, or was that like
it was very close. It was very close to finished.
Okay, right. Cool. So at that point, it's kind of I don't just where it goes.
Yeah, look, to be honest, I'm not sure if it's more about what the game was or just like Annapurna's credit at that point. Providing them really good games. So
that's cool. Though.
I don't know how much
I always wondered how that worked in terms of like, did they have to calculate how many sales you would potentially be getting and make sure you get enough of that to be able to have the game available for free on Game Pass for anyone who has it?
Yes, it's really good. I don't know how much I'm allowed, I should have read the email, but I don't know how much I'm allowed to say about that stuff. But it's very good. Like, from a studio like us, it's our first game. Because of Game Pass, so many more people are going to play it and maybe be interested in what we do next. So I think it's very good for a studio like us. I understand. I've heard people have differing opinions on what Game Pass is. I can't see a downside from where I am and what I'm doing.
I imagine as well a game like yours that is stupendously wonderful and experimental. It's like that's a game that some people need a little bit of a push to say, like, do you feel like playing this? It's like some people might be a little hesitant to dive into something this sort of fantastical, and something like Game Pass, or we're big fans of it on this show and we talk about it, talk it up. It's like it's a great way for people to say, yeah, I'm just going to dabble, and obviously then get their hooks into what is clearly a very captivating and beautiful game as well. So that's only more pluses for you guys.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's really great to like kind of push. Yeah, it's great to get people in there who maybe would have played the game. I want them to play it. I think we'll win people over. I think it's great. Every time I play it, I'm just super impressed because, it's all the people around you just filling out these worlds and doing like the effects and the programming and just the artistry through the game. Every time I go through, I catch something new. So I think I love it. I hope other people love it.
And are you doing all the music on it as well? Or is that like a team of people? Or how does that work?
It's me and another musician who I've worked with my whole life called Josh Abrahams. And he wrote Addicted to Bass. And the height of my
oh wow,
the height of my like a comedic peak is when someone tells a perfectly timed Addicted to Bass joke to Josh. It's like that's right. Someone did Eden Altman, who plays the guitar of Francis Vendetti. Just the other towards the end of recording, Josh was like, "Listen to that bass. It's just so lovely." It was like this beautiful kind of. I think it was the Moog one. It's really not beautiful synthesizer. Just like listen to that bass, which is something that Josh does all the time. He'll turn on some weird synth. It's like it's like listen to that. That's great. Josh, that's great. But he was like, listen to that bass, and then Eden sat back. Yeah, I've heard you're addicted to it. Bam! That's me. I'm gone. I'm on the floor. Perfectly timed Addicted to Bass joke. But Josh Abrahams rocked up to my door when I was maybe 19, and he was like, I heard you making weird Van Halen shit. I was like, what are you doing here? And he came in and he came in and listened to my tracks. He ended up making the demos that got me my record deal, and we've worked together ever since. And we wrote all the score, and it's finally lovely to pay him. And to put him on the payroll after years of just using his studio.
And what's it like for you to be doling out the wads now?
I love dealing out the wads. Absolutely. I don't know. I just like. It's nice paying artists, isn't it? It's nice paying musicians
totally.
who you've worked with for your whole life, and getting them involved in the projects that you do. All the folk music is from Luke Leggs, who's a guy who played at my year 10 fun run, and he was in year 12, and I thought he was the coolest dude in the world ever. So it's really great to work with him and get his tracks on the game.
That's awesome.
So you mentioned that, finally, that this is a game that you hope that people enjoy and will inspire them to check out your next thing. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because technically the game isn't even out yet. But I imagine you don't have a long season pass DLC tail on this. So
no,
what kind of thing do you want to do next after you've made what is so clearly like a really personal passion project where you've
your opus
potentially spewed out so much of yourself?
Look, I would love to make a really amazing cricket
battle royale.
Oh yes.
Wait, did you say cricket?
Yes. Yeah, I'm like a massive cricket fan.
That is such a left turn.
I know, but I'd love to make I'd like to make Shane Warne Cricket 99.
I'd like to make that game that already exists.
Yeah.
Multifish in the chat has suggested Cricket Battle Royale. You can have that for free.
Can I? All right. Well, that's the next game.
Good.
Thanks for the IP in the chat.
If Epic gets back to you that quickly on that email, I don't think they will.
Another 20K, just like that.
I don't know if anyone's going to sponsor my Shane Warne 99. It's not a remaster either.
Multifish says they actually do expect WODs, so WODs for Multifish, please.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. We'll get in contact. Next up from Beethoven Dinosaur, Shane Warne, Cricket 99. It's going to be on Dreamcast and PlayStation 2.
And Game Pass.
Probably Game Pass.
Perfect.
Probably Game Pass.
They provide the WODs.
Well, Johnny, it has been an absolute pleasure, mate, having you on the show. Thank you so much. I think that I speak for all of us when we say, we can't wait to check the game out. It comes out at 2 a.m. tomorrow, so we'll probably still be live on this show when it releases. And it's on Game Pass for Xbox and PC as well. It's also on Steam, I think, maybe?
Yeah,
Is it on Steam?
Probably. Yeah, I think so.
I think it's on Steam as well. Good luck with the release, man. And it just looks phenomenal. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here.
It's been so much fun. I'll be back tomorrow night.
We'll meet again.
See you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Have a good one.